because he kind of counsels me. He's like my mentor in this whole thing. So throughout the years, there's a common thread of communication from me to him. And he was like, yo, Ray, it seems like you're looking for a silver bullet, which there isn't a silver bullet.
Yeah.
He goes, you're perfectly capable of it. And when he said that, I was like, yeah, man, maybe I've been relying on this silver bullet for so long that I kind of forgot that I'm able. So you're gonna start a channel? What makes you think you know how to do that? What makes you think somebody's gonna wanna be on your show? Nobody's gonna wanna watch it. You're never gonna get any subscribers.
Never gonna get any subscribers.
You're not smart enough. You're not articulate enough. You won't even know what questions to ask. You're gonna choke. You're all gonna laugh at this. You'll see, this is gonna be a major fail. But let's do it anyway. Rug Talks. So my name is Raymond. They call me Grateful Ray. Here's another edition of Rug Talks. I got my man Alan, one of the founders of SneakerCon, has blessed us with his time. He's a busy man. Yo, thanks for being here, man. Really.
No, appreciate it.
I always like to start out by talking about how we met. Like, how did we stumble onto each other? I stumbled onto you guys via Melvin. Shout out to Melvin, INXX, the whole INXX crew. He kind of plugged us together. Yeah. I fell in love with what you guys do and your accomplishments right off and your personalities. You guys welcomed me immediately. Do you remember when you stumbled onto us?
Yeah, so like, it was quite interesting. Melvin from INXX, it like in life, you just follow the path, and it's really interesting. So I was out in China maybe last year, in the spring, and I was like, yo, we need to get grounded. We need to know like what's going on here. We need to meet with people. We need to talk with people. Like, I've been here 4 times. I still don't know what's going on. And my business partners at the time were like, hey, let us make some calls, see who's out there. Then they're like, hey, we do business with this guy, Melvin from INXX. I'm like, let's get him in here. Anyway, my flight got completely like messed up. I needed to fly out. I headed out, never met Melvin. My guy Jerry, who works for SneakerCon China, was out there, got together with Melvin, kicked it off. Like, they vibed really well. There was good energy there. Melvin was like, I'm gonna come to SneakerCon Houston, which is like one of our community events. We really come out there. We want to build. We're not about like, you know, doing 20, 30,000 people shows. We like doing small shows as well.
Just to jump in, SneakerCon, he is the founder of SneakerCon. If you know anything about sneakers, you know my man right here.
Yeah, so, you know, we're out in Houston. Melvin from INXX comes through. He spends a full day there. We're like, yo, we want you guys to do something with us in China. He's like, I'm in, whatever you guys want, let's do it. So what ended up happening is like, I'm coming to New York, I want to get together. And when we got together in New York, he was like, I work with a guy in Whitestone. You know, he has a clothing brand. It's a passion project of mine. I really love working with this dude. You got to link with him, like, you got to definitely spend some time. And I'm like, Whitestone? Melvin's like from Singapore, like, he's throwing out Whitestone, New York. I'm like, definitely, like, that was like very intriguing to me. Yeah. And then
Whitestone, New York, by the way.
Yeah.
Whitestone, Queens, New York.
So that's how we basically got connected. And, you know, we vibed really well. And I liked, you know, particularly like what you were doing was like hitting the grassroots of a brand, and the story and build up of how Grateful got started was like really interesting to me, because I love the story of like starting from scratch and just creating something that you're really passionate about and having a vision. So that's what drew me to really get together with you and, you know, get to know you more, which has been really dope.
So shout out to Melvin. So Melvin plugs us. You guys invite me over to your shop. I'm thinking they're gonna have some Manhattan address, right? I'm like, yo, you want a link? Get some coffee or something? he shoots me the address. It's like Flushing, New York,
Yep.
which is 5 minutes from our shop. I was
Yeah.
like, whoa. So we go over there, and right from the gate, you guys welcomed me with open arms, and I always felt the love from you guys, and I sincerely appreciate that. Hence, you're still doing it because you're here right now. You don't have to. He doesn't have to do this show. Trust me, he doesn't. He could do a million other shows.
Nah, well, it's all like, it's all to the point, like, where we're located, like, we're not about the fancy address. Our whole thing is like, we want to get things done.
Correct.
We want to be producing really good stuff, and we want to do stuff for our community that we care about. Like, we
For the
really,
right reasons.
absolutely, like
Right
this
reasons.
culture, and like when it comes down to like sneaker culture as an example, like people either really fuck with you because they love what you do, or they just look at it as like, oh, this is just something that exists in the marketplace. So as an example, and not trying to really call out anyone particular, but like I'm talking about like a Foot Locker. They exist to facilitate sales for the Nikes, Adidas, Pumas of the world. They're not really doing anything for sneakerheads. They're not doing
Correct.
anything for sneaker culture. So that's not the approach we take. We're very much like, what can we do to
That
enhance
wasn't a
this
shot at
community?
Foot Locker, by the way.
Maybe it was. I don't know. At the end of the day, it's like, we're in the reality. Like Foot Locker is a huge business. It's very successful. Like they're great at what they do, but what we do is so different. Like if somebody says like, what is SneakerCon? Our whole thing is we're a community-based gathering. We're something that helps a culture, and we just facilitate a platform for people to really meet each other
Correct.
in this world. So, that's really what we're trying to accomplish.
So being that we went into that, let's go back to the beginning, because I know the first SneakerCon was in 2009, right?
Yeah.
On Houston Street, correct?
No, we were actually on 42nd Street.
42nd Street?
Yeah.
So let's go back to your mind state back then. What made you, before SneakerCon, what was the first sneaker you bought that made you think, yo, I want to do this? Or that you stumbled onto? Or how'd you get into this world of sneakers? Like, what made you fall in love with sneakers? Because you got to be in love with sneakers to
No, for
to
sure.
do
So
SneakerCon.
I grew up in Brooklyn. That was like, being in Brooklyn was, everyday sneaker culture without even knowing that you're in it. Anywhere in New York. Like, people are walking around with up-tempos and Barclays, and you're like, this is the world. So
By the way, this guy knows every single name of every single sneaker that's ever dropped.
Yeah, now you're gonna you'll get me
I'll
quizzed
be
by the
hanging out
wrong
with them,
person.
They be naming sneakers. People be walking by, be like, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. But go ahead.
You'll get me quizzed by the wrong person.
Yeah,
There's knowledgeable people
yeah.
out there, but I was young at the time. My aunt was working at a sneaker store on Sheepshead Bay Road in Brooklyn. My mom brings me into the store, and she tells my aunt like, what's like the best shoe right now? And she comes out with a Jordan 8. It's called Playoff. Back then it was just a Jordan 8 black. And she brings it out and she's like, everybody's buying this pair. And so my mom's like, do you want it? And I just like fell in love with the straps instantly. So I was like, absolutely. I was like 5, 6 years old.
Wow.
I was like, my brother got passed up on every shoe. My parents didn't buy him anything. I was like,
His older brother?
yeah, older brother. Like my parents didn't have any money, but they started making a little bit, and they're like, you've been wearing the same pair of shoes for 2 years. Like, we'll just buy you this. And then that was like the gateway.
That's where it all started.
Yeah, not really understanding like
What
where.
could you understand at 5 other than you loved them?
Yeah.
But it sparked something in you.
Absolutely.
So-
And then after that, it was like,
So back then, I remember when I was a kid, because I'm up there in age, I remember a sneaker, I don't think it was even considered sneaker culture. I consider myself, it's funny, I was talking to Will, works with you guys, and he was like, we were talking about sneakerheads, and I was like, I don't consider myself a sneakerhead. He was like, nah, you are a sneakerhead. There's just different levels to sneakerheads, and he educated me on those levels. And I was like, oh yeah, then in that sense, I am a sneakerhead because I do love sneakers. I've always loved sneakers. But I remember when I was growing up, you would just go to like the Foot Locker and buy whatever was on the shelf. It wasn't like you were looking for all these exclusive deals or exclusive sneakers or collabs. It was like you just go to the mall. I would always buy what I liked. There was no hype behind it. Maybe there was a little bit of hype. You know, they definitely put money, advertising dollars behind products. So I guess there was a little hype behind it, but not like today.
Yeah.
So when do you think it went from that to what it is today, the very beginning
For sure.
of those days?
I think in the early days of like, especially Jordan, I think that hype existed, but it was really different. So like the Jordan 1, for example, that was known as the banned pair. That was the pair that Michael Jordan couldn't wear.
I got a pair of those, by the way.
Yeah, that pair is super iconic. And that specific model was being sold out all across the country. Like everybody knew what was up.
What year was that?
I believe 86.
So in 86, they were selling out of those?
Absolutely.
I had no idea though.
Absolutely.
You had to be in the culture.
It was not even so
was-
much culture. It was like, yo, this pair I can't get because it's like banned. Like I gotta get this. And Nike was paying a $50,000 fine every game MJ wore this pair.
Oh, I get it.
So, you
The
know,
hype.
yeah, it
That
just
created the hype.
it built up the hype, people all over the country, and that was the beginning. Like, yes, there's a lot of people that are gonna say like, yo, I was wearing Converse, I was wearing Clydes. Like, you're gonna have a lot of that going on, but the reality is like Jordan brand was the moments that were created. Those historic moments are identified by the shoes that MJ was wearing. So like when he won his first championship, that shoe defines who he was and what was going on at the time.
Everybody wanted to be like him. Everybody wanted to be like Mike.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
So
So
then, go ahead,
yeah,
go ahead.
that at the end of the day, that's always been my path. Like
That's where you
Jordan
think it started?
brand, and you know, it just continued, and even today, Jordan brand is super influential.
So at 5 years old, your mother buys you a pair of sneakers that changes your perspective on sneakers. You just fell in love with them. Then the band Jordans, you were up on that. Did you get a pair back then?
No, I had no clue. I
you
had
had
no
no
clue. I learned much later on, but
I get you.
but the Jordan 8s was like the gateway into all of
Do
that.
you have a pair now? I'm sure you do.
No, I have a few. I have a few pairs. Yeah.
You
No.
said a few.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
fact that you had to think
Yeah,
tells
yeah.
me how many sneakers you got.
Yeah,
He was like,
no.
oh, you went. Pfft.
Well, all my stuff I wear, like my stuff isn't organized. Like I just put it on. Like I'll wear it. I'm not like, you know, one of the sneaker dudes that like puts the stuff away, looks at it, like, am I gonna wear it? I just
you just
I
throw it
love this
on.
pair. I'm gonna wear this, and I just keep it moving.
It helps when you have 300 pairs of sneakers.
Yeah, well, you know
How
so
many pairs of sneakers do you have? Do you
I
even
have
know?
no clue.
You have no
I have
clue?
stuff laying all over the house. I really.
That's a lot of sneakers.
Yeah, I don't know.
If you had to guess, if I had to guess, I could probably say, I don't know, 40s maybe, which is
I'm
probably
not-
not a lot, right?
That's a lot.
Is it?
Yeah, the average person is like wearing a shoe like.
Yeah,
for the
yeah.
whole- I'm probably like 150 plus. Like I wear my stuff out. Like I'm not like hoarding anything.
got
Like
you.
I wear
You
it.
wear them out? Do you throw them? You discard them when they're done?
I'll sell them honestly. Like at a certain point, like I'll clean them up and just like let the next person rock them. Like if I don't want something anymore,
yeah.
I just keep it moving. And if I want something that I worn out, I'll just go after it again. You know, I don't go like for the super grail stuff. Like today is a different point in collecting. There's a lot of serious
Oh,
collectors.
it's a serious game. It's like
Yeah.
art now.
Yeah, like you got guys like Mayer, like I'm a
Yeah,
peasant to him. Like
Yeah.
Mayer is like, you know, his collection average pair is worth like $2,000. Like
yeah.
I'm just not playing in that ballpark. Like we're not in the same league. Like he'll blow out most people, but that's like, you know, when you think sneakerhead, you think a dude like Mayer, who's this ultimate collector that has all of this elite stuff. I'm just nowhere near that. That's
Yeah, I saw a video on his collection. He has sneakers all over the place. But let's go back to SneakerCon, the beginning. I read somewhere that you went to China and you bought a pair of Bape sneakers, right?
that was in Japan.
Japan?
So
And that's kind of
yeah,
when
fast forward a little bit. In 2002, my dad tells my brother like, "Yo, you got to go out to Japan." And my brother was like, "Why? Like, you've never been to Japan?" He's like, "I know, but I feel like it's something you should do." He goes out there.
You guys were already into sneakers at this point?
Not really,
So
no.
your dad is just suggesting that you guys go to Japan.
Exactly.
Just to,
Like I'm never wearing
that's
like.
a cool dad, by the way. That's a cool dad.
Yeah, I'm never like wearing something bad, but I'm not into like sneaker culture. Like, I always wore like shoes that today are considered super like relevant and sneakerhead shoes, but I don't put two and two together. It's just shoes that I'm wearing. So my brother goes out there, calls me right away. He's like, "Yo, you got to get out here." I'm like, "Why?" He's like,
so he went.
Yeah, he went. In 2002, he got out there.
By himself.
Calls me like.
How old was he?
He was maybe 18, 19.
So your dad is sending your oldest son to Japan at 18.
Yeah.
Just going, go live life.
Yeah, he went out there for 2-3 weeks just to be out there.
So he hits you up, come down.
He's like, "You got to come through." I don't shoot over. It wasn't that quick.
Oh, nah.
Comes back. He's like, "Yo, it's crazy out there. We got to go out there." So the following year, 2003, we go out there. We go into a store that's called Foot Soldier. Foot Soldier doesn't exist anymore. That was Bathing Ape's official sneaker store. Mm-hmm. They only sold shoes there. We walk in there by accident because it looked so dope. Like, it was all glass, this multicolored carpet. It was like a sushi wheel, but it had sneakers on it. It was like super crafted, and you felt different walking in there. Mm-hmm. You had
They were like way ahead of the curve.
Way ahead, really curating stuff, and it was super dope. Walk in there, I was wearing like a heavy metal t-shirt. Mm-hmm. This dude comes out of the back, he's like, "Yo, I love that band." He's like, "You part of the crew?" I'm like, no, I'm not part of the crew. I like the band also. He's like, "I got something for you." Runs into the back, pulls out a size 14 Bapesta neighborhood pair. Like, I had no idea what it was, but I'm like, this is definitely something special. I'm like, I'll buy it. We buy it, go back to the hotel room.
SneakerCon ain't even in your mind, nothing.
No clue. Like, we're just like, this is like the...
So how much of SneakerCon does your father own?
Zero.
Because it seems like he should have a fair share of this thing.
But he is the reason why it all exists.
Absolutely.
Like, he's always been like, he came from the USSR in '78. Like, he was hustling Levi's pairs. Like, he got arrested for selling Levi's.
Wow.
Like, it was a different thing out there. Like,
I got arrested for selling other things.
Yeah, in USSR, you get arrested for selling.
I would probably got killed in USSR.
Maybe you could have, like, paid them off with your product. But anyway, out in Japan, dude comes out, gives us the pair. We go back to the hotel room. We're like, "What does this pair go for?" We go on eBay. It's like $600-700.
How much you pay for them over there?
Like 200
USD.
We go in, sell the pair.
You made like $400.
$400 was made. We went out and ate.
And SneakerCon was born.
After that, it was born. Like, we're like, "Yo, we're going back to the Bape store."
It's funny because a lot of my friends own businesses and they share similar stories. My friend Ronnie Bonner, shout out to Ronnie Bonner from the Shadow Conspiracy. He told me early on he shot down to Thailand by himself on a whim and started to figure things out. So go ahead.
Yeah. So then
SneakerCon is born. You fly back to technically, not literally, but the idea is there. Sparked
for
something
sure.
Sparked.
No, well, a lot did, because we literally went back to that Bape store bought up as many pairs as we can.
That gangster.
Brought it back, and that turned into like 10, 15 trips to Japan,
Wow.
buying and selling. And like Japan.
Where was I back then? How did I not know you guys
This was
back then?
03 to 07, where
People were out there trying to be cool, and you were actually being cool. You were doing cool.
No, that was like probably the best time ever, because like I was literally being exposed to all the good shit that was being done.
Early.
Very early. So this is like when Hiroshi Fujiraro was doing like Levi's collabs and launching the Fragment stuff. You had, you know, the Bait exclusive store like drop dead in the center of Aoyama, which is like the Soho district of Japan, and like 2,000 kids lined up on a daily basis. It was a really unique time because you didn't know the deal. Like it isn't like
It was
today.
like perfect timing,
Absolutely.
little luck,
Absolutely.
great dad.
Absolutely.
Great dad.
Absolutely.
So let's, because for time's sake, boom, you know there's something here. You get back to the States, you want to do something. How far after that point in time did you start your very first sneaker con?
So it's,
And I don't think it was called Sneaker Con at
no,
first, right?
so we started.
Sneaker Con is humongous, by the way. I witnessed with my own two eyes. Shout out
So yeah, you know, we were lined up at the Bape store in New York. They opened one. The year escapes me, but it was like 07, 08-ish. And I'm lined up there. I'm waiting in line. We've been there maybe like 20, 30, 40 times. Like we were very active customers there. And then I recognized a familiar face. It was a dude that was working there that I knew. His girlfriend, he comes out, he's like, yo, what's up? Like, we start talking, he just got a job there. He's like, yeah, I just started working here. I'm like, oh, that's dope. We hit it off. He's like, let's get together. We linked up. He's like, yo, we should do some kind of business together. I'm like, yeah, for sure, dope. Let's do something. I'm like, what are you thinking? He's like, I don't know, we should do some sort of event. I'm like a sneaker event? He's like, yeah, let's do like some kind of sneaker event. And then I'm like, what do you think the name should be? It was literally like something like this.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, let's call it Sold Out. And I'm like, that's dope. Let's do Sold
Let's
Out.
do it.
So we came out with Sold Out NYC. We did.
When did your brother jump on board?
He was so integrated on everything that I do. Like,
Shout out to Barris. Barris,
yeah,
right?
Barris just like integrates and like just executes. Like we don't talk. Like we literally just like, oh, this needs to get done. We just get it done.
Yeah.
That's been the mentality ever since we started this. So it was like, yo, we're doing this event. He's like, I'm in. Like, what needs to be done? So we were hustling hard.
So from that conversation, how long did it take to launch the first event?
Probably like 2-3 months.
Sold Out is open to the public.
Yeah.
You got 400 or 500 people online, right?
Yeah.
How'd you feel when you seen those 400 people, 400 or 500 people?
It was like, honestly, there was no like direct feeling at that moment because it was like, fuck, people really showed up. We gotta like get our shit together, like get this going. And like, so it was on a 6th floor of a building. It was a dance studio. So you needed to load up all these dudes bringing shoes. And they're like loading up in elevators. I'm like, yo, we gotta just like take care of this first before we even worry about these dudes outside. So it got too
busy. You got really busy before you could really soak it in.
Yeah, my girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife, was like came out and she was like super happy. Like she was just smiling. I come out, I'm like, because she took the train there. I just come out of the car and I'm like, we got to get to work. I don't know what you're so happy about. Like, we got to get going. So
this is 2009, Sold Out.
No, this was earlier. This was 07 that we did.
Oh, so 2009 was the first
Sneaker Con. Yeah, this might have been actually 06.
Wow.
This was 06 that we did this.
So you did Sold Out for 3 years?
We did it for 2 years. So that, again, like that event, after it felt like the most rewarding thing ever, because that was like,
it was a 2-day?
It was a 1-day event, and the way the culture supported and the way the passion of people gathering for sneakers was, you just couldn't replace that feeling.
So you and your brother go home. You close out. You close up shop.
Yeah, we talk about this.
You guys living together at this point?
Yeah, we're still living with our parents.
Sharing a room?
Not sharing a room, but still living with parents.
So you guys are in like the living room.
Yeah, we had
debriefing, excited. What were your feelings?
Well, we were actually in like our parents.
So basically, these guys thought of something. They did what they had to do to get it started, and now they get back to the house and they're like, "Yo, wow, we did this." How did that feel right then and there?
It was the most, that was the most rewarding feeling. You know, that people, again, gathered for this community, gathered for this culture, and like the conversations we had, the people we met, like that was the dopest experience ever.
Yeah.
And we were like, we got to just do more, and we got to add more. And we did, sold out for a while. We then decided like, yo, we really want to get this thing bigger. We want to start doing much more events. We want to start traveling the country at some point. So we're still hustling shoes.
And it's not like you guys are rolling in the dough. It's everything is like.
Yeah, this is all like we're making it happen.
Making it
like
happen.
we're using every penny.
And I say that I asked you how much money it took you, or did you have money earlier? Because I get a lot of DMs, people asking me, "Yo, how much money do I need to start up?" In all reality, you don't need a ton of money. You
actually don't need any. Like if you have the concept of like how to cash flow your business, like that's gonna be the strategy. Like you can either like go out there and try and like use your money that you've built up, or say, hey, I'm gonna create this moment and you could be part of this moment, but I need you to pay to be part of it.
Correct.
And that's exactly what we did.
So to all you entrepreneurs out there who are thinking that you need money to start something, it's furthest from the truth. You gotta have to put one foot in front of the other and everything will start to happen.
Absolutely.
That's actually my motto. That's actually what I tell everybody. Put one foot in front of the other. Don't worry about too many things and things will start to happen.
Absolutely. And
so
you can't be scared also. You can't be scared.
You can't be scared.
For sure.
And if you are, just fight through it, right?
Yeah, you gotta like hit the ground running and deal with the things as they come. Cause we can put so many different predicaments in our head, like this is how it's gonna happen. Maybe it'll happen like this. It never happens the way you imagine.
It's in here.
Yeah.
The junk is in here.
Yeah.
99% of the time it don't play out the way you think it is.
Yeah, most of the time
it's always a lot better. So sold out, right? It was a huge success. Congratulations, by the way. I applaud anybody who does what they have to do to get what they want to get. So, and I know coming from, building what we built, how it ain't easy and how like a lot of it is, you got to fight yourself to go against the grain in a lot of areas. Anyway, for me, so my hat's off to you guys for just starting.
Yeah.
For not being afraid to start.
Yeah.
So good. Sold out 2-3 years. Somewhere down the line, you changed the name. So you technically started this. Your brother jumped on board.
Yeah. So
again, like without.
Yeah. So sold out. I started with this business partner that I knew from the past, who's worked at Babe. Barish jumped on board to really like make things happen. Really assist. We then fast forward, we're like, we want to move in a different direction. Our partner at the time wanted to do other stuff. We're like, cool, we're going to continue the sneaker stuff. We continue reselling. We start selling stuff on eBay that we're getting from House of Hoops Harlem. So a thing that people really didn't know at the time was House of Hoops Harlem.
You guys are really out there, like on the ground.
Every day.
You're not sitting on a couch wishing for things to happen. You're out there doing things.
Never. So like
key point.
Right before we fell on House of
working. They are working on their dream.
Right before
not thinking about their dream. I'm sorry, I'm talking to that kid out there. They're working on their dream. They're not thinking about their dream. So
Absolutely.
You guys are out there jumping on trains, cars, planes.
Yeah, so House of Hoops Harlem, like it kind of became like a little dull period. Like Bay started to decline a little bit and we're like not selling as much stuff. Supreme, we just kind of like got away from it. We weren't really into selling Supreme anymore. But like there's other stuff out there. We got to get out there. So we're on the streets every day, going into every sneaker store, talking to people, spending time in there, buying stuff, selling stuff. And then we fell on House of Hoops Harlem. I go in there, They had this pair. It was a Nike ID pair they made, but it was exclusive for the Harlem store. It was a dunk. It was called the Evel Knievel dunk. So I go in there. I'm like, yo, this pair is dope. Like, this is an amazing patent leather, stars and stripes. I'm like, I'll take 10 pairs. The manager's like, nah, we'll give you 4. That's when I knew this shit was good. I was like, all right, I'll take the 4.
Why were they able to not sell you 10?
It's Foot Locker shit. Like,
that's weird.
Yeah, that's a long story. That's another conversation. When we
yeah.
talk about resale tactics and like the whole industry, that's a whole nother thing. But get the 4. I go across the street to Atmos just to see what's up. Dude in there is like, what did you buy? I'm like, the Evel Knievel joints. He's like, you ain't gonna make any money. He's like, go return those. I'm like, all right. Meanwhile, that pair gave birth to a whole new different thing. We list that pair on eBay. Yu Ming from sneakernews.com just started out, gives us a plug. We're like,
no, but wait, let's back up. Because
Yeah.
I read something too about Yu Ming. Shout out to Yu Ming, founder of Stadium Goods, right?
Founder of Sneaker News, Stadium Goods, Sneaker Con, like
So
Freshness Mag.
did he like repost one of your pictures? That's how you kind of met him or something?
Yeah.
You
So
sent him like a nasty email
yeah, so
cursing out his whole family?
not that bad. So like this pair that he posted, he did give us credit. This pair, Evel Knievels, and you know, we started making a lot of sales.
No, but I want to go to like you meeting him.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna fast forward that.
No, we could go back, but go ahead.
Yeah, we start selling a lot. We're like, yo, this site, like that's when it came on our radar. So then we started buying a lot of this exclusive product from Harlem, and he started posting it on his website. But one particular pair, he didn't give us any credit. So that's when I sent him a note.
So you didn't really know him at the time yet?
Didn't know him.
Okay, I get it.
Didn't even know it was Yu Ming from Freshness Mag. I was just like, Sneaker
So you
News.
see the picture, he doesn't give you a photo cred.
Yeah,
you were
doesn't
pissed
get.
off.
I send him an email. I'm like, yo, dude, like, why didn't you give us credit? Like, we're
working hard.
Yeah, we're getting this out there. He's like, I'm sorry, I'm a one-man team. Like, I fixed it, it's done. I go on his site, let me check if this dude's done. Yeah, it's good. And then I continue reading the email, and in his email,
which is still his personality today with all this success.
100%.
So I met him in China, and he was super humble. He was,
yeah, Yu Ming
he's
is
worth
not
a ton of money. Like, I'm
Yu
not
Ming-
throwing his business out there, but he founded
Yeah, he doesn't
a bunch
change.
of companies.
And he's always willing to help
super
people.
humble guy.
Yeah, he helps a lot of people. Anytime anyone asks, like, he's always there. And you know, so anyway, in his emails, his office address, which is 3 blocks away from us on Christie Street, I'm like, yo, we got a link. Like, we're right 3 blocks away from each other. He's like, yeah, for sure.
It's a big deal at that time. Just yet, or he's just grinding it out.
Yu Ming has always been a big deal for this culture.
Shout out
The
to Yu
thing
Ming.
is, as it grew, he's grown with it.
Yeah.
So, like, at that time,
Yu Ming has always been a big deal.
always.
Shout out to
So
Yu Ming.
when we got together with him, like, me and Barris were excited because we didn't
So you didn't even know you were sending that email to him.
initially know.
Would you have sent it, or would you worded it out differently?
I would have definitely worded it out differently because, like, Yu Ming was like, had Freshness Mag at the time, and that was like super influential for this culture. So we got together with
The
him.
fact that he took heed to what you said and understood
For
and
sure.
honored you
For
says a lot about him.
For sure, and it's
like
the
I
same
said,
way
He's
till
still
today.
like that till today.
Yeah, same way. We sit down, literally his office was as big as this area that we're sitting in.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, you know, thank you for taking care of that. We start talking about the stuff that we like, and we like the same type of things.
So you
in
were
this
in
culture.
a transition at this point too. You kind of left
Yes.
that, and now you were looking for something else. Now you're in his office.
Absolutely. And like we're not thinking about doing something else. Like it wasn't like
Just something different.
it wasn't so much like we're trying to get into a different business and we're just seeing what's out there. It was like we want to do sneaker stuff no matter what,
Correct.
no matter with who. That's what we're all about. So we sit down, we start chopping it up, and he's like, oh, you know, what are you guys like doing? Like we're talking now, and we're like, yo, we should just start an event together. And then he's like, well, what do you guys think? Well, we're like, let's do a sneaker event. Like, let's just pop it off.
Did he already know you had some experience?
He was like a little bit knowledgeable on what we did, but he didn't know it was us because we've always been pretty.
Has he ever been to any of the
He
sold out?
hasn't.
Never?
He was never there. And
Sold out, there was a buzz on the street.
Yeah.
In sneaker culture, you guys had a buzz.
Absolutely. And then he was like, yo, I own the domain sneakercon.com.
Yeah.
And we're like,
What made him buy that early on when he wasn't even doing anything yet?
you're gonna have to talk to him and get him on
That's
your
almost
show.
genius.
You know,
Yeah.
he has a lot of vision with sneaker culture and this whole thing. So he's like, I own the domain. We're like, yo, let's get an event going.
You're talking like in 2009
This
too,
is-
that
this
he
is-
had the insight to buy a name
Yeah.
like that.
So this conversation took place in 08, probably towards the end of 08.
He wasn't doing nothing with the domain. He just had it parked.
Exactly.
Wow.
And then in 09, we popped
That
off the
domain
first
alone
event.
is probably worth a ton of money.
Yeah, well, you know,
Especially now with all you've done behind it.
Absolutely.
But just the name alone is
absolutely,
pretty powerful.
absolutely. So
Sneakercon.com, right?
absolutely,
You already know that.
yeah. So
If you're
we,
watching this, you know that.
so we do that. The first SneakerCon event was in Times Square. We did
So
it.
wait. So you guys in his office, you guys talk about let's do an event. When does he jump on board? When that same day?
Yeah, right away.
Immediately?
Right away.
You send him a hate email.
Yeah.
You're now in his office. You guys hit it off.
Absolutely.
Let's start an event, and SneakerCon is born.
Yeah, it was done just like this. Like we're sitting there. It wasn't like let's put together a business plan.
Yo, let's start a business. Let's start a diner. Let's see if it still works.
Yo, I got ideas for diners, so
Let's
don't
do
get
a
me
diner.
started.
Let's start
Don't-
one right now.
No, don't get me
Okay,
started.
I want to start something with you.
Yeah, my wife will hate me. She'll be like, "How many businesses you doing?" I'll be like, "I don't know."
I'll run it all. No, go ahead.
So
Get the contract. We don't even need contracts. There was no contracts, I'm sure. You
no,
guys
there was no contract.
Just having fun.
There wasn't a contract until like we took on a big partner recently. Like we didn't have like
So
for like 9 years.
9 years.
Yeah, there hasn't been a contract, but
nice. I like doing business like that.
yeah,
by the way.
it's
It doesn't make sense all the time, but for us at Grateful, we've never signed contracts with anybody.
yeah, it has to be the right vibe,
Yeah,
the right
gotta
person.
be the right vibe, exactly.
You know, like, and it needs to be like,
Let me jump in. I was doing a deal with somebody recently, and they wanted to do a contract, and I haven't done a contract with anybody up to this time, and I was like, yo, man, I just can't do it. I feel like it's gonna ruin the story, and it wasn't a big enough deal for me to sign a contract on.
yeah.
So I kind of was like, nah, I can't move forward on this. So
Yeah.
you guys are rocking out.
Yeah,
You, your
we do this
brother,
42nd
and you, Ming?
Street event. So much support.
That's the first sneaker con.
Yeah,
now.
Mayor-
Now, what was the turnout?
It was
there?
great. It was like 3,000
Wow.
people. It
How
was-
old are you at this time?
Damn, you're making me go back. 09. That was 22 years old.
Wow, 22 years old doing big things. Good
yeah,
for you.
it was all love.
You're never too young,
No, you could start whenever.
especially nowadays.
Yeah, for
especially
sure.
nowadays.
For sure.
So 3,000 people show up to your
Yeah.
very first sneaker con.
And like the
You
most
guys were stoked. Yu
so-
Ming was there.
Yeah, it was
hands-on.
crazy. It was crazy. Like
Press,
Mayor
everything?
came. Yeah, press. Mayor came through. Clark Kent came through. Like, you know, everyone supported. And when those guys came through, they were like, "Yo, this is dope. How you guys are bringing together the culture and community."
Those are like super cosigns.
Absolutely. At the time also, like Clark Kent was just so ingrained in the community. Not that he isn't now, but back then he was doing everything he can to push sneaker culture. At the time, I didn't appreciate it. At the time, like if you would have asked me about Mayor Clark Kent, I'm like, oh, it's just some dudes doing sneaker shit. But now looking back,
Yeah.
I really appreciate what they did because they were just so like, they were all about sneaker love. Like they were exposing this community in a really big way. And at the time I was just a kid, like, yeah, who are these dudes? Like, you know, but now it's
Yeah,
like,
because you don't realize when you're doing things, you don't realize
Yeah.
it. Till you look back, you're like, wow.
And they're the reasons this culture is propelled so much.
Yeah.
Like, yes, you have the Jordans, Phil Knights, Nikes, Adidas of the world, but the reality is, like, they were the culture.
Correct.
Clark Kent was the culture. He was the one collecting and sharing those stories. So when those guys came through, that was really unique. And we did SneakerCon for probably 3 years just in New York. And there was always kind of like, this is really when we felt like we had a business, was when somebody was like, you guys got to do another city. Like,
When did you, let me jump in business, right? Because it takes money to fund a business, to keep a business going. When was it that you started to see some money? Whatever that means. I don't mean big money, little money. When were you like, wow, we can really do this?
It was probably from the first event,
Wow.
like just seeing that the trajectory is there. Yeah. It wasn't me.
How did you guys have your business savvy? How did you even know the business trajectory?
It all came
That's
from
something
like
I
our
learned
dad.
Years later.
It all came like we were schooled by our dad, like just watching him. He never told us anything. We just watched him do, and we
Is
never.
your dad still around?
Yeah, absolutely,
Oh, cool.
absolutely.
Shout out to my man's dad. What's your dad's name?
Yuri, yeah. So he he schooled us in a way, like he just let us watch. He was never like, you got to do this, that. We just watch him make his mistakes, make his biggest wins.
Hey Yuri,
all
you
that
need
stuff.
to get in on these contracts. These guys are doing some big things over here. You need to be at those tables.
So we end up, everyone's like, come to DC, come to Miami, come to Chicago. We decide to do DC. And
what was your initial reaction or feeling about doing sneaker cons outside of New York?
I was very nervous, but I felt like other people were ready for it.
What was making you nervous?
Just like we didn't know
workload or
no, we just didn't know like how it would be, because we're not out there. Like in New York, like we're walking around Soho, Harlem, like
and this is like when the internet was starting to become what it is today. It was the very
Facebook and just started out, like MySpace was like the thing. And we ended up like doing this event in DC. We show up, it's a bigger line than whatever we had in the past in New York. And the love in DC and like the smiles and the people there just blew us away.
So you did 4 in New York, right?
Yeah,
and then
around
your
that
first
many,
one
yeah.
out of New York was in DC.
Yep.
So the reaction to the DC show cracked open the world for you, at least the United States at the time.
Absolutely. So one of the things that really propelled us to go to DC was Adidas did an event with us in New York. And this was probably our 4th New York event.
Did Adidas contact you guys?
So the way it worked out is my boy Juice.
That's huge.
My boy Juice was working for Dr. J's, and at the time, Dr. J's is like a big retail store that used to be out here. I don't think they really have many doors anymore, but he was working there, and he's like, "Yo, Adidas, you gotta show up to SneakerCon. Like, you gotta like interact and engage with the sneakerhead audience."
So your boy is telling Adidas this.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
what's your boy's name?
Juice.
Juice. Shout out to Juice for telling Adidas what to do.
Yeah. So what ends
telling
up
Adidas, yo, you gotta go here.
So Adidas loved the event so much they ended up hiring Juice, because they're like, yo, you were right. Juice, like, he knew the culture inside out at the time. They bring him on board.
A lot of times these big companies are so way up there. They don't have their foot on the ground. They need Juices. They need sneaker cons.
For sure.
You guys probably gave them life.
Absolutely. At the time, it was very energetic.
Cut my man a check. Adidas. Cut my man a check. Cut me a check.
Yeah. Everyone in the room. So they end up bringing the show. They helped propel us to bring the show out to DC. They're like, yo, we want to do more events. So
you're doing all this. You're picking up sponsors. You're picking up vendors, which is helping you with the cause. Yeah. Then you're picking up a sponsor like Adidas, which had to have made things a lot easier. Yeah. Were you concerned about partnering with somebody that?
Not really. That we were just living in the moment. Like, we didn't even realize what's going on. We're just like, we got to perform and do this. It was really like, we felt like we were just like getting started. Like that moment, even though it was, 6, 7 years, 8 years in the sneaker culture, in the sneaker game, it felt like we just started
Yeah.
when we got Adidas on board. Like, this is a whole new chapter.
It's a whole new level.
For sure. And they,
How did that feel when you inked that deal with Adidas? Did you feel accomplished, or you were still in work mode?
it was like, this is gonna open it up for us to go to other cities in the country, and that was the most exciting thing.
Nice.
So that's when
So it wasn't even that you were partnering with Adidas, it was the fact that you can do bigger and better things.
Exactly.
Do what you wanted to do.
Exactly.
I got
That
you.
opened it up to like making this whole thing a lot better and opening it up for other people to be part of it. So
DC, Adidas, cracks open the whole world for you. What was the next show you did?
we did Miami. We did Chicago.
What was the turnout in Miami?
Miami was dope. It wasn't a huge turnout, but it was like the people out there were like really about the sneaker game. And what was great there is like the vendors in Miami were like, I'll travel with you to Atlanta. I'll go to New York. Like they were very experimental. And then like we picked up a dude, P from Windy City Soul, who's still hustling out of Chicago. He's like, I'll go to every show. He's like, I'll drive from Chicago to Miami. I'll drive from Chicago to New York. And like, that's when we were like, yo, that's when it was like, this is serious. When dudes were like, we'll travel to wherever you guys go.
You still have relationships with those
Oh,
guys?
absolutely.
Yeah, those are the cool
yeah,
guys.
absolutely.
When they jump on board early.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love having guys like that around me. So you do Miami, then you start popping up all over the.
Yeah.
You're doing like 19 shows in the States.
At that time, it wasn't that many. It was probably 6, 7. We end up
Every couple of months, I'm assuming.
Yeah, every couple of months.
How was
doing
that
events.
workload setting up?
Still
Not setting up each show, just planning.
Yeah, it's still like we're in the moment. It's still even like today. Like I have no clue, like what the real feeling is until like maybe like 2 years after. I could be like, that's how I felt when we were doing this stuff. Like today, it's so like I'm literally flying to Melbourne, Australia for our event there. Going to Singapore. We got something planned out there next year. Going out to China, we got a Guangzhou, China event. Like, it's all like living in the moment and just executing and doing what you love.
So none of this could have happened unless you started that one.
Absolutely, it couldn't. I don't think this would have.
If you would have been paralyzed by fear and never done that first one,
absolutely,
none of this would have happened.
Absolutely, right? That's what it comes down to. So then. What was really, I'm gonna fast forward a little bit, what really like broke out this event is we did a New York event in Pier 36 Basketball City. We do this event, I believe it was 2015, and we didn't know what to expect. We knew our events in New York are big, we knew they're always growing, but when we show up, there's 6,000 people in line. We're like, we got problems. Like, let alone like, we gotta run an event, we have problems. Like, we're never gonna get all these people in. We ended up having like 12,000 people show up. We did not expect it.
Wow.
But that show was just like intense, and probably that was when we were really like, we're like, we gotta get a little bit more established because people are taking this really seriously.
Yeah, so
we need
have to.
Yeah, we need to get it together a little bit.
So what is Yu Ming's role in all this up to that point? Or you guys are just all hands on getting stuff done?
Yeah, even till today, you know, Yu Ming has so many different obligations, but his love and passion for this and this whole community is always engaging. Like, you know, me and him speak at least like 3-4 times a week. Like we're working on different things, and you know, he has a lot of things he has to cover, but we're still a team in terms of like the vision of our brand.
So what was your first, so you pretty much start doing sneaker cons all over the US. When was the first time you said, let's go overseas, and where?
So that was.
And whose idea was it?
That was recent. That was recent? Really recent. So in 2017, you know, we started like doing a lot of stuff with different sneaker YouTubers, where we started doing stuff with Kai Somar and Tony D2Wall.
Talking about YouTubers, when did you start your Instagram account?
Damn, that must have been like 2013.
13, and then 17 you start hooking up with.
Yeah, we started.
When did you start catching momentum on your? Because you got like
from day one. From day one
Yeah?
on Instagram, yeah. Because there was like 6 sneaker.
You remember launching? You remember getting SneakerCon?
I just remember Yu Ming coming over to me like, oh, this is our new Instagram. Like, I was like, oh, that's dope.
You remember having like 1 follower? What was the number you remember?
I remember it like starting off with like 150, like fast.
And then what'd you start seeing? What numbers when did you start paying attention to being like, oh, snap, 100,
Oh,
500?
when it was like, when we got up to like 20,000, I was like, yo,
like, wow,
this is really.
And then you went, so because right now you got like 3.5 million followers.
I think we're at 3.1.
3.1?
Yeah, we're at 3.1.
So do you remember when you hit like the million? Were you paying attention?
I don't remember when we hit the million, but it was a big deal. It was around the time of one of our New York
Because those
shows.
are hardcore sneaker fans.
For sure.
Yeah,
for
you
sure.
got a really healthy
For sure,
following.
For sure. No, we love the support this culture gets.
Yeah.
And like that's what drives us. Like the way that people gather for this community, that's what keeps me energized. Like every event, I still feel like that first sold out event.
Yeah, good.
Like,
That's why you're so successful, because this is really a passion.
Absolutely.
So you get 1 million followers. Do you remember getting 2 million?
I don't.
You don't?
Honestly.
You're just flying by. You just get
Yeah.
2 million followers. Oh, is this a regular day in the neighborhood?
I really don't. And it's not like
3 million? Do you remember?
I don't want. We remember 1 million because we talked about we talked about it in the office. The problem is like we're traveling so much. We're producing events. We just launched our digital marketplace. Like we're in the mix of doing 100 different things, and we don't celebrate our wins.
Yeah.
And
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I don't know.
You
That's
don't know.
something I really don't know. Like we really don't celebrate our wins.
Did you celebrate this China show that I was with you guys? That was like that was a big show over there, right?
Yeah, so we did.
Did you celebrate that? So let's go back. So SneakerCon Houston, throughout the United States, big one in Brooklyn. Let's straighten things out. Your first one's in where? Overseas?
So first one was London International. I was with Kai Somar, and he's like, yo, we should go international. Let's do something in the UK. I'm like, all right, let's do it. So we ended up.
What was that turnout like?
It was amazing. It was like.
You already got steam going at this point.
Yeah, we got like.
The internet's working in your favor. Instagram.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
people know the event. We do the event, and it was interesting though, because when we were talking to vendors on the phone, they were like, "We don't think this is gonna work." It was like really negative in London. I was like, "What the hell? Like, I never felt that before."
Yeah,
I was like, "What's going on here? Why are we feeling such negativity?" After the event, like dudes are hugging me, they're kissing me, like I'm like, yo, what's the deal? They're like, when are you guys coming back? So it like totally changed. We'll be back in London in October, 5th and 6th. It'll be our first 2-day London event.
So, and that was 17?
That was 17.
Took you a while to leave the States.
It took us a long time because we were just like, let's build this first.
Yeah.
We were
You
not
just
in a
being
rush.
patient.
Very patient.
Did anybody want to? Like the three of you guys all make decisions equally, I would imagine,
Yeah,
right? Did
yeah.
anybody want to go and two were resistant? How do you
Everybody-
guys make decisions within you?
We just support and trust each other. That's what
Everybody just, yeah.
And
it's
there's a
working.
trust. There's a
Yeah.
trust.
Has there ever been a time that you've wanted to do something that your brother didn't? You guys have always been on the same page?
Always on the same page.
Nice.
We've disagreed about like little things, like we don't think like this should look like this on a flyer, or the shirt should be different, or like we shouldn't have this at the event. But in terms of like big picture decisions, it's always been like, oh, you want to do this? Let's go.
Because I sense that all three of you guys are just going for it.
Yeah.
So
No, it was
that's
just
the common denominator, that you're just going for it.
So interestingly, and just to backtrack a little bit, so 17 we did our first event, but in 2016 we decided to do China, and we went out to China and started setting up our business. And that's something like, you know, if you want to do something in China 2 years from now, go there now to start setting it up, because it's a different world. Like you'll appreciate what you have here and how you're able to build a business here. In China, it's not that easy. So we end up going out there, we spend time out there really getting to know the culture, spending time with people. My first time out there, I was amazed and blown away of how passionate the community is. And I was like, at that time, I'm like, China's gonna be driving the sneaker culture 3 years from now. Like that's gonna be the
So
thing.
that show you were setting up for was the one I was at?
Yes.
And how did
exactly.
you link with Melvin? You already knew Melvin, right?
So Melvin was linked much later, actually, last year in 18.
Okay.
And that's how we got together with him. So we do the London event, we do a bunch of other internationals. China, we get deep in the planning. We get a Chinese partner that shared the same vision with us. We spoke to a lot of people, but if you're gonna do stuff in China, you need a Chinese partner. We go out there, we really design the type of event we wanna produce there. We post tickets up, tickets sell out literally in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
We have 20.
It was a huge event.
Yeah,
huge,
we had
beautiful,
20,000 people show up, 3-day event.
It was kind of like a trade show
Yeah.
almost. It was amazing.
Yeah, we really did something that we prepped for quite a while.
So before they opened the doors to the public at the China event, I would imagine you walked the space, right?
Oh, for sure.
How did you feel? Because the space was so amazing. The booths were amazing.
Yeah.
How did you feel? You're like, yo, bro, I started this 10 years ago on 42nd Street,
Yeah.
and look where we are. Did you ever get that moment?
No.
You still?
No, it's just like we're still in it. We're in the grind. Like as much as I want to sit back and like appreciate what's been accomplished.
Zay was supposed to come with us, by the way, but he got shot down at the airport because he didn't have a visa.
Oh man.
Yeah, he was supposed to be there.
You
at the
should have
show.
connected with me. I'll get you a V.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Just like I didn't know you wanted an Iron Maiden shirt. Now we know. But anyway, so go ahead.
No,
So you're not, at no point,
Look,
like I would imagine just because we're a lot alike, it's not like I am celebrating any of my accomplishments, because sometimes I don't even realize that I've accomplished things till people be like, yo, you realize what you're doing or where you're at? But there are times that I still could be like,
Look,
appreciate the moment.
No, I'm just grateful for like what we're able to build, and like I appreciate when I see the people at the event, and like that's when it gets real for me. Like when it's just the setup and the feeling, it doesn't drive me. But when I see the people interaction.
So that's when you have that
Yeah,
moment.
that's like when I really appreciate what's been accomplished.
I'm a
so
little
far.
different. I would walk into like a setting like that if SneakerCon was mine and I would just happen to be walking through the space while the public wasn't there. That's when stuff hits me. I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, this is pretty amazing. But I guess it's different for you. You like the crowd. You like
I'm like because like right after
Congratulations, by the way.
Right after
Yeah.
that Shanghai event, we went to Sydney. Like we're doing another event, so my mindset's like already on the Sydney stuff. So we're moving so quickly. It's hard to really sit back and be like.
You know what was my favorite part of the China show was when after the event was over, they had like a VIP dinner. You remember the VIP dinner? Shout out to INXX, really cool people. It was like cream of the crop. People were at this event. I just happened to be able to be there. And you guys came like, you were the last people to come. And I remember when you guys walked into the door, everybody was there already. But when you and your brother walked into the door, everybody kind of just, not rushed you, but they like greeted you. And from a distance, I looked at you guys and I was really proud of you guys. I don't know if you remember, I walked up to you after. I was like, yo, you guys are the cool kids.
Yeah,
you guys are the cool kids.
There's a lot of love that everyone showed. And that
I was extremely happy for you guys because I know what it's like to have a dream, put the work in, and in those moments. And that was like a really special moment for me to be a part of, that there was so many people there to celebrate, and they were basically celebrating something that you thought about.
Yeah. No, that's what we appreciate. And everyone gathering, like you coming out, like we just mentioned to you, like, yo, we're doing a China event, you gotta come. And then you showing up meant a lot to me. That's like, I invited a lot of people. I invited a lot. 95% didn't come. So
the fact that you guys invited me was special to me. I was like, who am I? Like
No, you flew on your own dime, you came out there, you supported, like that means a lot. We're doing Guangzhou. I think Grateful should have a setup at the event.
I think me and Will are talking about DC too.
Yeah, I think you should be.
Definitely want to do something Yo, these guys are super cool. I don't think you guys understand how successful these guys are and what they've created. They're talking super big numbers. Not that that makes anything, but the fact that you're still humble as the guy who started this show from day one is amazing to me. In a space where there's some weird people, I'm sure you've met some weird people in this world of fashion. But yo, you guys, the INXX guys, the same thing, super huge brand in China. They welcome me. Never a sense of entitlement or I made it. It's always been a beautiful, organic, welcoming setting. And I just appreciate being like the fly on the wall in everything you guys do. So you guys are carving a tremendous space in this world. Forget about culture, this world. People are going to know about SneakerCon 20, 30, 40 years from now.
Yeah, that's the
And
goal.
I want to shout out your dad. Your dad, right? He deserves some credit.
Nah, he's the hero
for sending
for me.
your brother to Japan to go explore.
A lot of vision.
Shout out to, what was your dad's name? Yuri.
Yeah.
Shout out to Yuri, man. Yo, if you're out there and you got kids, push them, man. Inspire them. Inspire them. Don't hold them back. It's a different time. What you think is important is not important anymore, man. Let them follow their dreams. These guys are a living testimony to that. Yo, so I was like, yo, you know what would be cool? If we did a portion of the Rug Talks where we talk about sneakers and I was like, yo, I'm just gonna call it, and I'm not looking for a sponsorship or nothing, it's just because I love you guys so much. Let's call it the SneakerCon Cam.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about the sneakers we're with. So what you got on right now? I don't know what they are, but I know they're super exclusive.
So this pair was is the Paul Rodriguez Tinker pair. So Paul Rodriguez was
Skater.
Pro skater. It's called the P-Rod. And Jordan, this is a weird pair because it's like the first time Nike and Jordan like technically did like a collaboration. This is like post-Jordan signing, post-Jordan developing Jordan brand where they strictly use the Jumpman. This is the first time you would see the Jumpman Nike logo on the same shoe. So Tinker designed the shoe. It was super hard to get. I was walking around SneakerCon Bay Area. I just saw a dude with them. I'm like, how much? He's like, 300. I was like, I need this pair. Because when this pair dropped, I couldn't get it.
What do you mean walking around? He was literally walking around or at a shop?
No, I was walking around. He was one of the vendors at the event.
I got you.
And I just copped right away. When these dropped, I went to a skate shop in Williamsburg called KCDC. They had two options, a size 7 or a size 13. I bought the size 13 hoping one day to get my size. Never happened. I ended up selling it and totally forgot about it. So when I saw this pair, it rekindled a lot of memories.
Shout out to P-Rod.
Yeah, I really like this pair.
So these are like my favorite pair of sneakers. I don't know if they're anything, but they are my favorite pair of sneakers. I got a funny story with these sneakers too. So my boy hooked me up with a meeting with Jeff Staple.
Dope.
Right? So I got to meet Jeff Staple in his office in the city. And I get a little nervous in those type of things. Like even before we started filming, I was a little nervous. Thank God I pushed through it. So I was on my way to meeting Jeff Staple. It took about a month or two to line up the meeting. And I was like, of course I'm gonna wear my favorite sneakers. These were my favorite sneakers in the world before meeting him.
Yeah, these
I just
are dope.
love them, right? Staple Puma collab, they did these about 4 or 5 years ago. So I had made a note to self that I got to get two things out of this meeting. A picture with Jeff Staple, and I want him to sign my sneakers, right? So I go into his office, I'm sitting there, he's got the pigeon rug in his office. You ever been over there?
I have my guy, Barris, and you may have been there a few times.
So I'm sitting there, I'm a little nervous, don't know what to expect. He walks in, super nice guy, he's like, all right, go to his office, and we just kick it. And I felt so free, I didn't feel nervous, he was so welcoming. And yo, we literally had a great time. When I have too much of a good time with somebody I don't know, I start to get nervous because I feel like this is weird. The sense that I'm just too comfortable. That makes me nervous. I'm nervous because I'm nervous, or I get nervous when I'm too comfortable. I can't win. So we're having this amazing conversation. I'm telling him about Grateful. He's super blown away by my story. He's like, yo, man, you got to pat yourself on the back for some of your accomplishments. And so, hey, long story short, I walk out, give him a dap. He goes, yo, we're going to hook up again. We'll meet again. I leave, I jump on the train, and I go, I didn't get a picture,
Damn.
and I didn't get it to sign my sneakers.
Damn.
So Jeff, we got to do this meeting again. I need
yeah.
you to sign my sneakers.
Jeff got to come on.
Oh,
on the
another
show.
story. There's a part 2 to that story. So we're in China, right?
Yup.
He's at the show.
Yup.
So he collabed with you. He
Yup.
did all the artwork for the show. So I'm hanging out with the INXX crew, and Jeff Staples gonna be there at 2 p.m. So I'm like, cool. I'll just wait here. Jeff will come. He'll remember me. At like 1:30, I'm waiting all day. At about 1:30, Henry, shout out to Henry, INXX, goes, yo, Ray, take a ride with me to one of their stores. And I was like, oh, man, I couldn't tell Henry no. You know, he shows me so much love. So I was like, I had to leave with Henry, and I miss Jeff Staples in China.
Nah, but we'll
make it happen again, man. Yo, my man.
Dope pair, though.
I love these
that
sneakers,
pair.
bro. Yo, thank you for being here, man.
you, man.
Really appreciate you
man.
as a Oh, wait, 1 second. Yo, Zay, give me that thing. So you had made a comment, you saw my post on IG. I was at the Iron Maiden concert.
Yeah.
If you would have just told me, I would have gladly got you a t-shirt.
Nah, it's all
Unfortunately, I couldn't get you one.
Oh, damn.
But I got you. I scoured the internet trying to get you a tour t-shirt, which I got it for you. But it takes a while to get to me.
Damn,
so I got you a tour t-shirt, an official tour t-shirt. But to hold you down for right now, I was like, yo, my man, I can't.
Damn, that's dope.
So this to me is
bro.
epic.
No, this thing's crazy.
This is epic.
Nah,
so
this
that'll
is
hold
dope.
you down
This dope.
until
I appreciate it.
the merch gets here, and then I'll either bring it to the shop or I'll mail it to you or whatever,
Appreciate
man.
it, bro.
Really appreciate
Really
your time.
appreciate
Thank
it.
you. Super impressed
Thank
with
you,
all
man.
your
Thank you,
accomplishments.
thank you, man.
Shout out to Iron Maiden.